Hi. So I enrolled in a education technology master's program as a response to the pandemic. Well, I had seen the need for technology to be taught explicitly to kids over the last couple of years that I was um, teaching. And I got involved with some online credit recovery programs and realized, oh, yes, if we could build a website, we can teach sort of a lot of people that aren't getting reached. And so I enrolled in a master's program for ed tech. And this is an introduction to ed tech class. And I'm going to talk to you about what I've learned in it. So, I've learned to talk to the camera first and foremost. Let's see. So it's kind of been a long journey. When I first started taking the class, I was, you, you know, it's got to be, it can't be that hard, but you've never done it. So what the heck did you just get into? So this was one of the first assignments that I created off of PowerPoint, which has options for you to do these graphic um, templates. So, I mean, I had always wondered how some of those old ladies came up with some of the flyers that they'd pass out, and you're going, it's not really that hard, but I just don't really know sort of what their trick is. No, I know. So, this is a timeline of the instruction of technology design. And the field of instructional design and technology encompasses the analysis of learning and performance problems, and the design, development, implementation, educational institutions in the workplace. So in the 1950s, TV was pretty much how the medium used through that was the technology, radio and TV. And how do you teach using that device? It sounds like they played around with it, and then by the 60s, they sort of gave up. It was just sort of entertainment. By the 70s, they expanded the um, definition of instruction to cultural awareness stuff, programming, and informational technology, informational presentations, excuse me. But of course, by the 1990s, 95, everything expanded with the introduction of the internet. Um, this is the ARCS model. I'm going to talk about this a little bit later, so I'm going to pass now. And the 80 model stands for analysis, design, development, implementation, evaluation. I'm going to come back to that as well. What I do want to talk about right now is the Gaines 9 events of instruction. So this attention grabbing thing at the beginning of planning a great lesson is really critical. Um, so this part is talking about how, what do you have to include within your lesson plan for a student to grasp it and remember it in the future. All right. And so those things like gaining their attention and then getting them to access their prior learning and then presenting the content and then having them do performance after you've guided them, giving them feedback, all of that stuff. That helps in the retention and their ability to teach someone else later. Okay. So that was one of the first assignments that I wanted to show you. Let me get out of here. The other thing I wanted to show you is that the only way I could get this master's program to work was by sort of creating it into one big circle. And so I ended up doing most of my literature review on the types of instructional technology, learning models, and all of the things that we talked about or we were reading about in the intro to ed tech class. So the first thing you see is the ARCS model. And this model is really, really important because it provides motivation. So, one approach to meeting the challenge of gaining and maintaining learner motivation is the ARCS model. This model provides guidance for analysis of the learner and designing lessons based on analysis of motivation. The goal of the model, like the goal of many educators, is to assist in helping learners want to learn and develop in ways that help them build satisfying lives and contribute something positive to their world. This is so important to remember why we're teaching so that the learner, the student, can make something of themselves and have the skills that they need to create a satisfying life. And so previously you saw those 10 steps in the PowerPoint. But there are four characteristics of the ARCS model, and that's the attention grabbing, making sure it's relevant, building their confidence, and then providing them with some satisfaction. Maybe they learn a new skill that they can take with them to the next place. So we talked about IDT a little bit in the history already. So I do want to go back to the ADDIE model, and you know, the first, it's an acronym, so it stands for Analysis, Design, Development, Implementation, and Evaluation. Analysis is holistic. It encompasses student need, standard, technology, systems, etc. All of those things that you have to layer in, all of those, I guess, data points that you have to layer in um, along with the student needs and what they have access to within technology, right? So, like within LA Unified, students can access YouTube if they were on the LA Unified Wi-Fi. So, just making sure you know what's going on so that you can build something that people can access. And then designing includes identifying the media and methods of delivery. So, what um, types of technological tools are you going to use? Are you going to use a game? Are you going to do a YouTube, or are they going to make a PowerPoint, or what? For how you deliver it. And then it also uses information assessed in the analysis phase, and then designing a lesson that meets the needs. So once everything's aligned, materials are developed and implementation occurs, and evaluation allows for measurement where the objectives met. All right. So I'm trying to think back to other activities in this class, but a lot of it had to do with also posting on a discussion board. But I've got to tell you, I'm horrible. And I've written down, like, make sure you discuss, or put it on my phone. And there's just not too much I have to say. It's hard. I'm not, I, I don't even know who I'm talking to. That has got to be the hardest thing. Blogging is almost as hard, except you really can just write to yourself. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. How do you think about it? It's like blogging. I look at it as a dialogue, like a diary. But these message boards, there's something else, and I don't think I don't think I like them very much. And I know that it has to do with I'm an outsider. And I also know it has to do with I have a different philosophy. And so it just to me, it was like there was some internal conflict with online message boards and um, feeling judged or not accepted. So I've got to tell you, I have not figured out how to make my peace with that. And in every single class that I've taken on this for this, master's program, I have failed in the blogging and the those message boards. It's strange shit. Excuse me. I'm going to end it here. All right. Thank you.